in this particular record, from January 1827, my wife's 5 times great-grandfather, Christopher Black, is diagnosed, Christopher Black from Sprowston Parish, he's diagnosed with some form of lung disease. It says pulmonic affections. And he's just 26 years old. And unfortunately, as you can see, it kills him, he's dead. But this particular information was unknown to me until I found this record. All I knew was that he didn't appear in the 1841 census.
Just to add to the complications of the records from the pre-civil registration era, from 1783 to 1794, there was a stamp duty imposed on the registration of all baptisms, marriages and deaths, and you had to pay threepence essentially to register such an event. A lot of people had a better use for the threepence and just decided not to bother. So you'll find that there is quite a gap in the records from 1783 to 94. And conversely, when 1794 hits and this requirement is lifted, suddenly you'll find entire families being baptised. It doesn't mean if you find 5 children baptised on the same day that they were quintuplets. It just means that they decided at that point they were going to register the whole lot.
Thank you, Chris. That was excellent. That was really good. Everybody seems to have enjoyed that. We have got a few questions. Here's a question. Did many Scots move around in the 1840s and 50s?
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of people, particularly if they were labourers, for example, if you were an agricultural labourer, you might only be hired for 6 months, and then you have to keep regularly attending these hiring festivals and travelling around regularly. It was known as flitting in Scotland. You had to move from one place to another.
How did you get into genealogy?
Well, it all started when I lived in Dublin. It's a bit of an odd story. We went to see a play in Dublin, and my husband was out working, and he was working in Dublin. And we went to see a play, and there was a chap in the play who looked like my dad's family. He looked so familiar, and it got me thinking about where my family were from. And I thought, I'll dig in. This was a way back in 2001, and that's been it. I just love it. And then I did a postgrad at Strathclyde, and I've just carried on since there, doing friends' family trees and doing it professionally.
Yeah.
So it's just addictive. As soon as you start, you just, you can't stop.
I know, it's the puzzle. It's the solve.
It's like a giant jigsaw puzzle.
It is. Kirsty Wilkinson has published a new book, and we've got one to give away. And so we have decided that the book is going to be given to the person who asks the most interesting question. So we promised you that the most interesting question would receive Kirsty's excellent book.
Just on the basis that he managed to stump a whole panel of genealogists, I would like to take my vote for Ken and his postal addresses question.
Yes.